Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 13th day of August. Here, got a great show with you for the night. I don't come on here thinking I'm just going to talk a bunch of drama around the league and everything. I really want to, and there's more than drama to talk about. But there are some storylines here to talk about, as far as Haason Reddick. I mean, what are the Jets thinking? You trade for a guy who's at the end of his contract, wants a new contract. He wants a new contract. In April, here we are in August, weeks away from the start of the season, and you can't get it worked out. He hasn't done a walkthrough. So talk about that. This could be the last possible season there for Joe Douglas. I'll tease that. There's a story about Jalen Hurts about a week old, but I want to talk about that as well with Nick Sirianni. Deion Sanders, maybe I was wrong about Deion getting that Florida job offer. Titans, I'm out of Nashville, Tennessee. The philosophy of the Titans looks to be about what I thought it was, and that is a very good thing. And a lot of other NFL news and notes. There's some injuries here. A lot of young players hitting the ground, quite a few young players hitting the ground running in the NFL, even though it's simply just just a one preseason game. A lot of good and bad and the ugly, okay? Got plenty to talk about tonight. Let's take our first and only break. I'll be back here after a few short announcements. We'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. To get the National Streaming Sports channel on your Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports. There's the channel search in Roku. There's our logo right on the right, NESSP. Tap on the logo, and it will add to your TV, the channel to your TV. On your laptop, tablet, and mobile phone, download the free Roku app and channel search just like above. If you don't have Roku TV, you have to order a Roku device from the Roku store, hook it up to your smart TV, and bang, you have Roku TV. Again, channel search, National Streaming Sports, click on our NESSP logo, and add the channel.
All righty then. Okay, thank you, Mac. There's a good endorsement there by Mac McGrath, John McGrath, him and Linda from National Streaming Sports. I greatly appreciate that endorsement. Of course, the other one is just kind of showing you how to get on there. Their National Streaming Sports from the Roku channel. Good stuff there. Okay, now, story today, in my opinion. Haason Reddick, the 29-year-old pass rusher, traded back in April. So this was the big headline. I thought this was a good trade for the Jets. You know, you can never have enough pass rushers. Reddick, if you all recall, Hassan Reddick was basically the play that really got the Eagles into the Super Bowl a few years ago. It was the injury to Brock Purdy where it pretty much, I hate to say it like that, but it's what happened. It was pretty much that edge pass rush. He pulls the forearm down of Brock Purdy. He gets injured. They don't have another quarterback on the roster. We all know what happened at NFC Championship game. They went on to the Super Bowl. Probably should have won it. It was his play right there that got him in there. But this is what happened back in April, folks. April, before the draft, weeks before the draft. It's almost like an April Fool's joke. It was done on April 1st. This is I'm just recapping here, you know. Okay. So they traded Hassan Reddick to the Jets in exchange for a 2026 third-round pick. Now, I know that's 2 years away, right? But anywho, it's the 2026 that can become a second-round pick if specific terms are met. Reddick was the premier pass rusher. This is from their team site here. Free agent signing in 22, 4 years with the Cardinals and of course, Carolina. But he played well. I mean, 11 sacks last year, 16 sacks. He played well this was in 22. 16 sacks for the Eagles in 22 here. You know, so it wasn't a bad pickup here. And now he wants out of the Jets, okay? This is the last year of his contract. He was traded to the Jets for what I just said. I'm sure in some type of acknowledgement, in air quotes, that he was going to get a contract extension. If you're trading a guy who's in the last year of his contract, I'm pretty sure his agent, if he's worth his weight in gold, made it known. I know he did. He had to have made it known to the Jets. I want some type of extension here in place before I play coming up in the 24 season. Pat McAfee's show is saying that he has not even went through a walkthrough. Now, this was before the draft in April. Okay? They've already had mandatory mini camps in May. We are 2 weeks into training camp. We've already had a preseason game. And now he wants to be traded. As of yesterday, he wants out of the Jets. All right? And this is what the Jets put out here from Hugh Douglas. That's a former Eagle. Joe Douglas, the general manager of the Jets. We've informed Hassan that we will not trade him. That is expected to be here. He's expected to be here with his teammates and will continue to be fined per the CBA if he does not report. Since the trade discussions back in March, before May, we have been clear and direct, consistent with our position. Our focus maintained on the guys we have and here to prepare for the regular season. That's just not good enough. That is just, yes, they will do that. But I do not blame Hassan Reddick, nor do I blame his agent. The Jets are supposed to do their homework and make for sure. In the past, when these type of trades have been done in the past, now I know he's 29. This is not his second one. For example, Roquan Smith, Khalil Mack, for example. Well, Roquan Smith too, actually. But when Khalil Mack was traded from the when he was traded from when he was traded from the Raiders to the Bears, okay, when he was traded from the Raiders to the Bears, there was an extension done immediately. As soon as he signed, there was an extension done. Roquan Smith, when he was traded from the Bears to the Ravens, big extension done. Big. So when you have this already set up, it's supposed to be done in principle. There should not have been any kind of miscommunication on the player that's been traded that it is wanting a new deal. So this is really on Joe Douglas. And I understand the team has the authority and everything, but they gave up a pick and they needed another pass rusher. I mean, it just doesn't look good on the Jets. And Joe Douglas, the general manager with the Jets, he's been there since 2019. He did hit 2 home runs in the same draft with Sauce Gardner, defensive rookie of the year a couple of years ago, back in 22. Let's go back 2 years here. Defensive rookie of the year, cornerback from Cincinnati, Sauce Gardner. Offensive rookie of the year, wide receiver Garrett Wilson there out of Ohio State. But Douglas has missed on the big piece of the pie. He's missed on the nucleus. He's missed on Zach Wilson, okay, who's now with as a backup with the Denver Broncos. And he's missed on left tackle Mekhi Becton. I looked up Becton. He's not even on their roster anymore. Becton is now with the Eagles as a guard. He's not even playing tackle. So that was a 2020 first round pick. Totally missed out on him. Totally missed out on Mekhi Becton. So I mean, and now he is botched. He has botched this deal like nobody's business. Yeah, Pickles says he should have signed it before completing the deal. That's standard procedure. I'm pretty sure Reddick had, I know his agent had the indication known that, hey, we don't want a new deal. That's why we don't want to be an Eagle no more. And the Jets have kind of hem-hauled around this. So, listen, folks, the NFL, some say it simply means not for long. And you look at this, and I don't know if he was involved in the hiring of Robert Saleh or if it was Woody Johnson himself. Woody Johnson doesn't seem like a bad guy per se, the owner of the Jets. He is kind of like Stephen Ross down with the Dolphins, who wants to get big headlines. He's got a little bit of that in him. And again, with Douglas being here since 2019, you're looking at 5 years into this thing, and you've already got some opposite page. The best way. That's the nicest possible way. This ain't like Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But there's not really good symmetry, chemistry, whatever word you want to use, between Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers, and you could just tell it, And I don't know if Douglas was involved in the hiring of Saleh, but he looks like a miss. Okay, you gave away a future third-round pick, just gave that away for a player who is not doing anything for you right now, who already wants out of New York before he plays a single game. All right. And you've missed on a tackle and you've missed on the quarterback. So you get the sense that, and listen, I want the Jets to be successful, folks. I mean, I like Aaron Rodgers. I like the fact of what they've done with their offensive line this year. Got to be fair. Got to be fair with them. With Morgan Moses and the tackle they got there out of Penn State. I think they made the right moves. A lot of people thought they should have went receiver there. I was not one of those people or quarterback there. I was not one of those. I didn't think the value was there at 10. I do like that. But you got to look at all this as a whole. And I just get the sense that this team is Woody Johnson's going to hit the restart button one more time. Yeah. Bickle says the agent's an idiot. And Johnson, yeah, I think he's from the Johnson & Johnson people. I think he's born on third base. You can kind of tell he acts like a kid a little bit, showing off this necklace to the players. He wants the players to hang out with him, you know. But anyways, I just get a sense that it's not going to work out, and I think he's going to fire Douglas, not unless they make a run in the playoffs. It's fun to see the Jets play well, but I got a feeling he's going to hit the reset button and go out and get a new general manager and get another head coach. And I think Rodgers will probably retire. And they've got some pieces to work with, but when you don't have a quarterback, you ain't got nothing in this league, and it's just the way it is. Bickle says it was the Johnson & Johnson. Okay, yeah. And I think they make like tissue papers or something. I can't remember what they make all kinds of stuff here. Johnson & Johnson. I used to have a guy I worked with. His last name was Johnson, and I used to work for the state. And one of our state, Andrew Johnson building. I said, "Is Johnson working at Johnson today?" And they said, "Johnson. Yeah, he's working at Johnson." I'm in a pretty funny mood today. I was watching the show Live Patrol, and they were just tripping me out that this cop's trying to pull over this car with nobody in it, and he's really losing this. And he's like, "Wait a minute, this is one of those humanless wayward or whatever. It's some kind of self-driving car," and cops just shaking his head, and the guys in the studio laughing at this guy. But hey, it's 2024. We're in the future, right? So what do you do if you're Jets? Get Hassan Reddick signed. If I'm Douglas, get him signed. So that's what I do. If I am the Jets, I get him signed and get that put behind me. Okay? All right. Now, since this is a week-old story, but we'll go ahead and talk about it anyways. Off-season wise, I've been really high on the Eagles. I've liked what they've done in the draft. I'm not in love with Keelan Moore, but I do like the Keelan Moore hire at the offensive coordinator. I do like the defensive coordinator that they brought in from the Dolphins there. They have upgraded the defensive coordinator position. Barkley, if you start to really crunch the numbers, I like what they did in bringing Barkley in for those type of numbers there at the running back position. They did lose a Hall of Fame center in Jason Kelce, but this team is really much intact. You know, not a huge Eagles guy. Love Philly sports guy. Need to bring Philly sports guy back on the program before the season starts. That's what I would like to do. He is a riot. But there was a story going back to last week. I got caught up in some of these college stories, and I got sidetracked, folks. But it was an ESPN story about Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts not really not seeing eye to eye, and that's putting it lightly. Okay, this is what ESPN said. After the Eagles followed up the Super Bowl berth with a 10-1 start last year, and yeah, they got off to a great start. The wheels came off quickly. They lost 5 of their 6, and the defense is re-ending quarterback Jalen Hurts, who signed a first-year that $255 million contract. Grumbling on the sideline spats intensified, and the defending champions, the AFC, were eliminated in the wild. And they were awful. They were awful in that game. And this goes on to say that Hurts there was a trust factor with the former offensive coordinator. and Nick Sirianni, and there was a bigger trust factor gap per se. I'm summarizing with Hurts and Sirianni. Okay, and you all know my opinion of Sirianni just by listening to him in the locker room before game. Cameras followed him through the locker room after a game, a halftime, anything like that. Sirianni comes off as a Bill O'Brien type of guy. Towards the end, when the stress was getting too much for the Houston Texans coach, when he was given the general manager duties, there's some video of Bill O'Brien cursing out. They were hammered at halftime, like 31-0. They were hammered, getting the Texans like 31-0 by Denver one time. It was maybe not that bad, but it was very close. It was at home, and they were getting booed at halftime. And Bill O'Brien turns around, goes there and cusses out, cussing at one of the fans and stuff. And the players pulling him back. He's supposed to be holding the players back, you know. Sirianni, there's been stories going back to last year before this story of this security guy holding the security guy that got into it with one of the 49ers, and the NFL had 49ers players during that game. The NFL had to step in. The Philly sports guy knows who I'm talking about, the one that we've seen, the guy on the sideline. Well, this guy was like a barrier between Sirianni and the players. This story that came out last week is saying that Sirianni, there was a lot of trust issues with Hurts and Sirianni. Basically, Hurts don't think he knows what he's talking about. Since Shane Steichen left, the offense did seem to teeter downhill a little bit more, getting a little looser as the season went on last year. You know, like I said, 10-1 start, and they lost 5 or 6. And at the time they got to that playoff game, they looked totally lost, out of sync, off touch. Other sources in this story saying that Hurts is trying to play a lot of hero ball, trying to accommodate that contract on every throw. There's a line in a great movie called The Program about college football saying he's trying to win the Heisman on every single throw. And my opinion of this has never really changed. Jalen Hurts is an overachiever. Most of Jalen Hurts' career, I thought that he's a guy who could not make second reads. There's a reason why that he transferred. He was beat out by Tua at Alabama. He had problems making second reads, but he's a gritty guy. His dad's a coach. He's got a lot of gout in him and resilience, and he improves his game. I wasn't that impressed at Oklahoma, but he did improve his game under Lincoln Riley. Okay, then he then he gets transferred. Then he gets drafted to the Eagles, goes to the Eagles, works his rear end off, second round. We all know what happened then. They moved on from their other quarterback that they gave all the money to, and took a gamble with Hurts, and he worked his way up into being an MVP level quarterback. Now his coach is gone, and Sirianni and him, he don't really respect Sirianni. Okay. And Sirianni is a guy that kind of comes off as a fraud. That seems like he's a little bit over his head as a head coach. He's lucked into a situation where he's just overfilled. I mean, the management with the Eagles has they kill it almost every year in the draft. They don't bat 1,000. But they made a lot of really good moves in the draft. They spend the money in the right offensive line. Where they missed their receiver. So they went out and got A.J. Brown. You know, they missed the guys like Jalen Reagor. They got A.J. Brown, you know. And So you got a player that feels like that he's an underdog and he has to overcompensate for his shortcomings. He don't quite have the height, and he's not been the best passer and read guy. Not read option, just reading defense. And Jalen Hurts, then you kind of got an overachieving guy that feels like he got a chip on his shoulder as a head coach. He feels like he's got to work harder because he feels like he's a fraud too, that he don't really deserve to be the head coach of the Eagles. So you got two guys trying to prove themselves with both of them with their own different insecurities. Now, of course, I'm going to side with Hurts because, I like his attitude better. I like his temperament better. That being said, Sirianni, with Keelan Moore, so far this year, Hurts hasn't had an interception. He has not had an interception in camp, according to reports. Okay, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. They talked about last year, they talked about the Seattle game and everything, where they lost that game at the very end to the Seahawks here. So I guess my thing is as long as Sirianni lets Keelan Moore coach the team, coach the offense, and lets and I know he's going to let, because he don't come from a defensive background. Let the coordinator do his thing. I think they're going to be okay and probably win the East. But knowing this Eagles team, with their lack of patience, I wouldn't be surprised. They moved off Doug Peterson after he won a Super Bowl. They still might move off of him anyways. But if Sirianni gets involved, they won't win the East, and then they might not make the playoffs. So it's an interesting storyline to follow, per se. And I wouldn't be one bit surprised if it didn't blow up this year and they go after a new coach. I told you I didn't believe in Joe Judge, and I was right about him. I think he's a little better than Judge, but he's a combination of the former Giants coach who used to be the special teams guy from Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and Bill O'Brien, another Patriot ex-coach. You put them two together and you got Sirianni. So it's so people say, well, what about Bill Belichick? There was some write-ups in this story about Bill Belichick. I've mentioned Bill Belichick before, but if I'm Howie Roseman and the owner there, Roseman being the general manager, I'll say, listen, we've got to stick with an offensive-minded head coach. You need a very smart, elite offensive mind to deal with Hurts. He's not good enough nor talented enough to be on a defensive-minded head. He's not a Josh Allen, Roethlisberger type of level of talent. He needs a guy to work with him. That's just my opinion. If they make a change, but believe it or not, he will be on the hot seat just like Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh will be with the Jets. Pickle says Sirianni's a techno geek. Philadelphia, they did fall off a cliff. They sure did. Head coaches that can't put their iPad cannot coach. Yeah, never saw Nick Saban on the iPad on the sideline. Yeah, I've seen they are big on those iPads, ain't they? Now, if you look at Andy Reid, his play sheet looks like a menu of Waffle House, but he knows what he's doing, man. He's been on point. I mean, I've had my criticisms for his clock management over the years, but Andy Reid has found a way to clean it all up, to say so. So it's an interesting starting off the show. Yeah, Joe Douglas is on a hot seat, him and Robert Saleh. And believe it or not, Nick Sirianni, not that if you didn't know, now you know. He's on the hot seat too. All righty. Okay. I'm out of Nashville. Titans. Wow. great game. You said, well, it's just a preseason game. This is what I want to know from the preseason game. Does the team look fluid? Does the offensive line look fluid? Does the quarterback look comfortable with what he's doing? Is he doing what they're saying that they want the team to be? They meaning Brian Callahan. Okay. Are they going to be what I think that they can be? As far as one game sample, yes. What have I said on this show? Will Levis. Here's a picture of the guy. Will Levis. Got him on a picture of Lindy Sports Magazine. Now, of course, I think they use all the local teams and put the picture of the local guys on there. So, my biggest issue with Will Levis coming into this season would be what the Bears had with a former Nashville quarterback that played college here, Jay Cutler. And with having guys like a Calvin Ridley back there and a DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver, that the number one issue I was going to have coming in, because I know he's got a riches of talent, know he's got a strong arm, and would be don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. This is me at Brian Callahan telling Will Levis in many camps. I'm telling him before we sign Calvin Ridley, we're going to bring in a lot of talent at the wide receiver position to go along with the talent you've already got here, which is pretty good. And we're going to get you some protection up front. But we're going to pay $7 million to Tony Pollard here in the first week, okay? All right? We know what Spears can do at running back. If it's not there, check it down to the running back. If it's not there, check it down to the running back. That's what we're paying them for. And we don't want you forcing the ball deep down the field to one of these premium receivers. It's not going to be there every time. And early as this game is, the very first game, even though he said it's vanilla defenses, Will Levis he got it. He got it. He's checking the ball down. He a great pass there. Great pass there to both running backs. So I like what he's doing. I like his check down. He's not getting greedy. I wrote this down Saturday. Only knock on him was running head first in the end zone. That's very Sam Darnold-like. That'll get you concussed. That will get you hurt. Don't do that. Other than that, and I'm not talking about him sneaking. That the quarterback sneaks part of the game. Titans do that really well. Love the blocking up front, by the way. Crassenberry, the center, J.C. Latham, he looks really good. At left tackle, Nicholas Petit-Ferreira. The right tackle, he's only been back for 2 days. He was looking really good. Brian Baldinger, when you got Brian Baldinger talking about your offensive line on the Epps app, as analyst for Fox, and I think he does Fox, ESPN, and NFL Network. He breaks down game film. And listen to him talk about the Titans blocking. If I can find it here. I got a Deion Sanders story I'm going to talk about here in just a second if I can find it. But Brian Baldinger here, giving a lot of love to the Titans offensive line in his game study. Listen up.
Skoronski and Latham. Look at Tennessee Titans' new left side. Skoronski and Latham. Watch this movement. Watch how low they are. Watch how they just move bodies right here. Like it's just a plow on that side. Now.
Yeah, and of course you can't see it because I'm playing it, but it's the offensive line. It's looking like the Eagles did last year at times. I'm not saying they're going to be the Eagles. I wish they might be. But you've got Latham and Skoronski, who I've been high on. I said he was the best offensive line, according to reports, Pro Football, and all the stuff I've read. In 2023, he was the considered the best offensive line in that draft. Latham was the second offensive lineman taken in this deep offensive line draft in this 24 draft. And Baldinger, they're caving in on the inside, Pickles. That is exactly what you they don't cave in last year, the Titans offensive. They got caved in, and they stopped Derrick Henry in the backfield, as big and as bad as Derrick Henry is. And here is more from Rob Baldinger.
Can you hold up in pass protection as well? So let's watch J.C. Latham right here in pass protection right now and see just how he's able to move, because he's going from right tackle to left tackle. So let's watch him right here. And he's excellent feet. He's got his man down the ground. All right, now Levis is going to move out. All right, be careful now. Be careful.
That was the play where Levis was trying to score. He goes in head first. And, Pickle says Baldinger knows his stuff. When Baldinger's breaking you down, you've done something as an offense. It's like back in the day getting on inside the NFL. You know, if you got on NFL films, the players love that, you know. If you're on the X app or the Twitter and you got Baldinger talking about you, you've done something good. You've done something really good, you know. And the play he was talking about was the dad would call it a pancake block by Latham. It was very Orlando Pace type of block where he put the defensive end in the ground, took him off of his feet there for the 49ers. Levis runs in. He does almost injure himself getting in the end zone. That's where he says, hey, watch it. That's my only issue with Levis. And I'm sure Callahan said something. They're going to look at that in film. They probably already did. Today's Tuesday. They looked at it early this week and said, we don't want you doing that. But everything else he did, he got a B+ to an A- to me. He didn't throw in a strike in the end. But very good, two very good drives there from Will Levis. And the offensive line with Bill Callahan, you could already see the effect there. And the Titan fans should really be excited about the Nicholas Petit-Farid, which I didn't have that cut here, but he also complimented Petit-Farid at the right tackle, because that was one that was the most biggest question mark, was the right side per se. I told you on this program that I thought from my studying with Cassenberry, the center being Pro Football Focus has him number 10 best center in the league. That's pretty good at 32 teams, a lot better. And then I said that Sonorski, best player in the 23 draft, got a year under his belt with Bill Callahan coaching, and of course Latham, who's converted right to left to just pancake block the guy in his first game. So that's huge. That's huge. Now, go to the other side, the defensive side. The defense is what I thought it was, philosophy-wise, for the defense. Denard, let me make sure I got his last name right. I don't want to mess up the defensive coordinators. Is it Denard Wilson? The defensive coordinator here? Yeah, Denard Wilson, the former Ravens defensive back coach, now the defensive coordinator. Okay, you say, well, I didn't like the first drive. They were running all over Tennessee in the first drive. Yes. But a lot of that got cleaned up in the second drive. I would rather have a defense like a Greg Williams. The Titans had a guy named Greg Williams in 99. And they blitz like nobody's business. They also got to the Super Bowl that year. And they had the Rams on the ropes in the second half of that game. I'd rather, in other words, give up 2 or 3 big plays and keep a quarterback on ice all game, or keep him on the edge, per se, rather than playing that bend but don't break defense, okay, and have the quarterback comfortable all game. I hate that, and I know that Mike Vrabel played a lot of that, and for the most part, it worked out for the Titans. But also, I just don't like to see a quarterback get relaxed back there. I just don't want to see the quarterback get relaxed. I like the fact that Wilson is playing press man. They're playing a Baltimore Ravens style. By the way, Ravens, you watch battle after battle after battle with the Ravens. And battle after battle after battle with the Ravens, they're going to win. They're going to win more than they lose. You said, well, they don't have the personnel. Yeah, but they upgraded big time. They've got Jamal Adams at safety. They got Quandre Diggs at safety. That's depth safety. Okay. Sweat, he's playing just exactly how I thought that he would play. And he's not even playing with Jeffrey Simmons yet. Simmons didn't play. Now you got Janarius Sneed. They've got this other fifth rounder at cornerback that is playing really well. He's just a rookie, but McQuarrie in this. I say that because he's going to be bringing pressure. He's going to be bringing pressure. You're going to have some guys in one-on-one coverage. The Titans with Awuzie and Sneed, they're going to have the secondary to be able to bring pressure like that. Well, the team that won the Super Bowl brought pressure. Okay? Spagnuolo brings pressure a lot. That's what Wilson does. I love this philosophy. The Titans, not under Schwartz, not under Vrabel, they just didn't bring the pressure the way I would like. They did under Williams, and I understand you're going to give up some plays doing that. But also you're going to make some big plays. You're to more of an exciting defense. And also I believe that their linebacker there, what is that guy's name, Pickles? Jonathan whatnot. I forgot the linebacker's last name. But he's the guy they picked up from the LA Chargers. He's going to be playing really well in this defense. Yeah, Isaac Bruce. Remember, the Titans in the Super Bowl got injuries at the secondary position. They had 2 or 3 guys out and still almost won the game. Going against Isaac Bruce and Big Game Holt and Marshall Faulk, it's a wonder if they wouldn't blown out of the Super Bowl, but they wouldn't. They had a shot to win it at the end. If they had an offensive-minded head coach, they probably would have won it. So the Titans, they look exactly the way I thought from what I read and said that they would look as far as philosophy-wise. I've said that before about other teams, and it not be what they said philosophy-wise. As long as Levis continues to check the ball down when he needs to, defensively, I think they're going to be fine. They may even be a little bit better than I initially thought defensively. Initially thought that there could be top 10 in every position. Run defense, pass defense, and it's been the pass defense that's been bad in the past, and total yards, and of course, points overall. So I do think that things look good here in Nashville. Okay, other NFL notes. Jalen Daniels. Now, he only had 3 passes. Jalen Daniels, he's the quarterback for the Commanders there. Him and Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury is good. I think he's just offensive coordinator material in the NFL. Maybe he gets another job in college. I don't know. I wouldn't hire him for a head coach. I just didn't like the way his teams finished at the end in Arizona. He's already been fired from Texas Tech, but I think he runs a pretty good offense. Daniels got off to a good start. Daniels, the number 2 overall pick. I hear he's got a well of a work ethic, attention to detail. I've played you clips from when the Giants were testing him. Brian Daboll, the Giants head coach, really liked Jalon Daniels. Jalon Daniels got that photographic memory. He's a very serious a football player. He's a little thin. He could get hurt. I still have images of him getting hurt in that Alabama LSU game. He looks a little flimsy for me. Other than that, they look good. They look good. You know, it's still early in the game. I think they'll probably score a lot of points, and they're going to give up some points. I think they'll be a fun team to watch. You got guys like Colin Cowherd saying they're going to shock the nation and get to the playoffs. I'm not that optimistic, but I did like what I've seen so far. I think he hit like a 45-yard bomb there in that game. Excuse me. Get a sip of water here. Motor mouth. About 15 minutes, and I'm going to use all of it. Okay. So, not bad there. Not bad there. Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the starter. Mark Schlereth, former Denver Bronco offensive lineman. He's a balls and strikes guy. He was calling out Russell Wilson left and right from the time he started with Denver until he left in the offseason. And he's just a guy that will call you out. He says Bo Nix has been almost as flawless as a rookie can be in camp. Bo Nix, very good. First game. Nix is a guy, kind of reminds me of a Jalen Hurts a little bit. Wasn't really impressed with him as far as at Auburn. I know he's a coach's son now. He transferred. I was impressed at times, but not really. Not the strongest arm at Oregon. He's not the quickest guy by no means, but he gets the ball on time. He's had over 60 starts in college. He's a very resilient guy. He's a guy that had no talent that I thought could be selling insurance. He's a little, and he played his way, kind of like Hurts, except Hurts is more talented, more athletically gifted, stronger player. Hurts can squat 500 pounds, but Bo Nix, to his credit, has played his way into a first-round draft pick. Although he's middle of the first round, he was a first-round draft pick from a guy I didn't think he would get drafted at all, and now looks to be the starter with the Denver Broncos. And, according to Schlereth, who pulls no punches, thinks he's going to have a good year. He could win Rookie of the Year. As good a team as Caleb Williams has got behind him, this guy is clicking. Now, it's just one preseason game. But remember, we said that about Dak Prescott. What was he, a fourth-round pick out of Mississippi State? He ended up being the starter. We said it about a young Russell Wilson when they already paid Matt Flynn and in Seattle 10, 12 years ago. Just preseason. Well, I'm saying it about Bo Nix, Bo Nix looks good. He looks good. I think I have some screenshots here of what they did. Let's see. Yeah, 15 out of 21, 125 yards, touchdown, 102.3 quarterback rating. Now, Zach Wilson, who was traded to Denver, he was 10 for 13, 173 yards, no touchdowns, though, or 17 yards, excuse me, Zach Wilson. But Bo Nix, so far, so good. Not bad. And again, 2 for 3 for Jalon Daniels, 45 yards, 109, though, 0.7 quarterback rating. And he can run. So we'll see how it works out. But so far, so good. Same thing with Will Levis. You want to see how comfortable the quarterback is. If the quarterback does not look comfortable back there, happy feet, running, like, I talked to Rich the other day, a week ago, and Rich Ferris, and I was telling him I saw some highlights of Malik Willis, on in a open scrimmage they had at the stadium the week before last. I said, is he going to beat out Will Levis? He said, absolutely not. And after watching Malik Willis, yeah, he's still Malik Willis. He's, let me, okay, my guy's not there. Oh, I'm taking off running. He's improved, but he's still one read, maybe two read run. He's not the three. He's not the two, I don't think. And he's definitely not the one. So, excuse me. So, so far, so good for those two rookie quarterbacks. Now, bad news out of Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy's got a torn meniscus. The former Michigan quarterback there, first-round pick. Sam Darnold's already starting in that position. He might not play this year. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to get healthy, J.J. McCarthy. But from what I'm reading, McCarthy might not play this year. And it may very well be Sam Darnold. Love O'Connell there, the head coach up there. I'm curious of what he's going to do with Sam Darnold. But Minnesota, big blow there for the Vikings. Wanted to get to this Deion Sanders story before I run out of time here. Pickle says, yeah, good work ethic. These guys, as dads, coaches, they teach them how to push through things. Bo Nix, dad's a coach. Jalen Hurts, dad's a coach. Guys just push through stuff, man, and then they're tough. They're tough. Deion Sanders. Now, Deion Sanders snapping at the media again. He's coming in. He's got this huge beard. By the way, I love Deion as a player. Man, shave that beard. What is it with beards now? I mean, everybody's got to have a beard. Shave the beard, man. I know it's popular with women, and I see I drive Uber on the side, and I see all these good-looking chicks with these guys with beards. I'm not a beard guy. People say, I used to have a mustache in high school. It's just not my thing. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon. Deion, shave that beard, man. It looks terrible. You look 100 years old. So anyways, he's got this awful beard, and he's snapping at the CBS reporter. If I can find this thing here. Let's see. Here we go. Here's out of Denver. He's really going off on the CBS people here. This is a local Denver station talking about taking a shot at the Denver CBS, Colorado.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scotty Gage. Deion Sanders welcomed everybody back to football season today with a wild press conference. So let's talk about it.
When I talk about that, we talk about that. When we talk about that.
He called out some local sports writers today.
Why do you always on attack? Like, what did we do? Where am I?
And the head coach of the Colorado Buffs also had no time for TV stations either.
CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler.
I'm not going to know with CBS. Next question.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
So he took that shot at CBS because CBS supposedly put him as the second worst ranked coach, second worst ranked coach in the Big Ten, 61st ranked coach nationally. Now, listen, I looked up their penalties here, all right? Someone said it last year, and I had to verify. I hear something, I want to make sure and verify it and say it's true. They're 131st in penalties. Okay. They're one of the most penalized teams in the country. They had a DJ in the locker room pregame. Okay. His son was supposedly on Instagram at halftime in the Stanford game that remember Stanford came back and beat them last year. So is he more entertainer than a coach? Okay. So and I trust me, I have my issues with the sports media, the main media. I know their biases, but the sports media is easy. You win, you shut them up. You win, Now, of course, you can shut him up. He's being over the top here. He's the one that brought all the attention on the program last year. Now they're asking questions. He don't want to ask questions. Like he don't want to. It's like you can't have it both ways, you know. And if you're 60, if you're 131st in penalties, I think that's a legit question. Why are you bringing DJs in the locker room, man? So my prediction is a little flimsy right now with Deion Sanders taking that Florida job. Because I know Billy Napier's going to get fired. I was looking up it again, and somebody else was talking about the strength of schedule. Florida's got the hardest schedule in the country. I think they'll fire Billy Napier. And I thought maybe they'll go after Deion Sanders. Now, I'll say this. If they win 8 to 10 games and Schroeder, his son, is called up to New York for the Heisman, maybe he takes that. Maybe he gets that job offer and he takes it forward. But I don't like Deion's attitude. I don't like the beard. I don't like the penalties. They finished 4-8 last year. He seems to be flaming out, but we'll see. We'll see. He's got all the motivation in the world, okay? He's got everything, a lot to prove in the world. We got into it with the Colorado State coach here. He had me bought in, but I feel like he's kind of wearing it down. But we'll see. I mean, actions speak louder than words. They do have a somewhat of a favorable schedule. But I tell you, folks, by the way, next week I'm going to be talking. I'm going to give you my prediction next week. I'm going to break that 12-team playoff. I'm going to break that 12-team playoff down next week, and I'll probably throw in a few dark horses here. And I think one of them is going to come out of the Big 12. Big 12 got some good coaches nowadays. They don't have big brands. Kansas State, good coach. Kansas, good coach. Even Texas Tech's got a good coach. All those teams changed coaches in one time. Cliff Kingsbury was one of them. I told you they moved off their guy. And Kansas ain't had a good coach in football in years. They got a pretty good coach now. Kansas got a pretty good coach now. But, one of those teams I think can make the playoff. They're going to slide in there. Who would have thought TCU would have made the playoff a few years ago? I didn't think Washington was going to make it last year, but they did. They made a national championship game. So there's always a sleeper in there. We'll see what happens with Deion. He does not like any pushback. But Deion, you went 4-8, man. You got to win. If you got to, he backed it up as a player. You got to back it up as a coach now. If you can't back it up, you don't talk it. Right? Don't let your mouth write checks your rear end can't cash, what my dad used to say. So, anyways, folks, if you like the show, share the show. I'll be back on tomorrow. We got another episode of Hard Knocks. Maybe talk a little bit about Caleb Williams. Deion pulled that at Elf. Yeah, he did. And, you think a guy's got to mature at some point. You can't be the same guy you were at 19 at 54, right? All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place here on the Real Sports Scope.